Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are doing well, and I feel like it's about time I'm making a video on this rookie. Obviously, I've made videos on prospects, but we didn't go on to select with the 11th overall pick. The only pick we had in the 2022 NBA draft was with the 42nd overall pick, and we selected Trevor Keels, the shooting guard from Duke. And the main reason why I was very hesitant to make this video was because, we may see him in the summer league. That's the most amount of minutes we may see Trevor Keels play, because we know Tom Thibodeau, he's very unorthodox when it comes to his rookies and how he treats the minutes. Most of if we see Trevor Keels play, it's probably going to be because of injuries, and it looks like a logjam right now. Maybe it's not going to be as much of a logjam as you think after the offseason if we go on to make some interesting moves, or obviously we move on from Noel. Obviously doesn't play Trevor Keels' position. Trevor Keels is a shooting guard. He had some ball handling duties at times, and I don't think he's going to be a point guard at the next level. You never know in the G League, though, how he's going to be utilized, because I think he's going to spend most of his time in the G League personally. But let's say we move on from Alec Burks to free up cap space, and the Knicks get really desperate. They can't move on from the Noel contract, and they go on to move on from Cam Reddish. I'm not saying that's what I would do, but there's been some reports, or there's been some rumors of that. Obviously, I made a video on. So maybe there is some situation that, yes, Tom Thibodeau runs these shortened rotations, someone goes on to get hurt, and then I'm not wishing upon injuries, and then Trevor Keels, we have no choice but to play Trevor Keels at the end of the day. And Tom Thibodeau is a scratch, crawl, grind type of coach. He really wants his rookies to do that, fight for the position, no matter what. So we'll see if Trevor Keels goes on to play. A best abilities, availability. Cam Reddish hasn't been able to stay healthy throughout his career. I hope he finally does this season and he has a chance to prove himself. But if he doesn't, it's possible we may see Trevor Keels. But I do think the most we're going to see him is in the Summer League and the G League as well. But Trevor Keels is a very fascinating player, and I had to do a lot of research on him when he was selected with the 42nd overall pick. I didn't watch a lot of Duke basketball. I don't watch a lot of college basketball. I just go back and watch the film when it comes to these players, when it comes to these prospects. I'm not a huge college guy. Well, I watched the tournament. I actually saw one tournament game of his. Or I watched him against North Carolina. That's what I was thinking about. And when I watched Trevor Keels play, you notice he wasn't the top dog. Yes, he's 18 years old. He's a freshman. He was talented out of high school. But you look at how stacked that Duke squad is with Jeremy Roach, AJ Griffin, Paulo Banchero, Wendell Moore, Mark Williams. I feel the best teams need that scratcher, that crawler, that guy that does the little things, dives after loose balls. He's the heart and soul of the team. He hustles. He just does the little things that result in big things out there on the floor, and he was just a grinder out there on the floor, and that's what I really respected about him. He never complained about his role at all. Yes, opening night, his first game as a freshman, I believe he had 25 points at Madison Square Garden, so he did show he could play big time, and he was pretty good in that North Carolina game as well that I went on to watch. But he's just someone that's kind of a jack of all trades, someone who's kind of a Swiss Army knife type of player out there on the floor. And he is limited when it comes to his stealing. A lot of people just look at the age or think about the age when it comes to potential. But you have to really look at their capabilities, things they can do, things they won't be able to do when it comes to their NBA career. Because he doesn't have the best of physical profile. He's not a jaw-dropping athlete at all. He's not really a great athlete. He's a very fundamental player that relies on his strength and physicality. He's not that fast getting to the hoop as well. When you just take a look at his physical profile as a two guard, he's 6'4" with only a 6'7" wingspan, and he's 221 pounds. That's a big dude though, 221 pounds. But when I go on to watch this man of Trevor Keels, when I went back, watched the film, read scouting reports, again, he's not someone that's gonna blow you away with athleticism. He's that grinder. He just plays with flat out heart out there on the floor. But if we're getting into it, he has a football background as well. This dude was actually a linebacker, and you could tell by the way this dude's built. He's huge. He ate a lot. He was probably someone that was freaking 6 foot by the time he was in freaking middle school. That's how big this dude is built. Had something pop up on my computer there. But getting into his offensive game, there is an inconsistency with his game. He didn't have many pop games. He's probably had a few 20-point games when it came to his college career. He had a 25-point game, which was awesome at Madison Square Garden, and then he had an over 20-point game when I believe when it came to Pittsburgh, that they were really feeding him the rock. That's how on fire he was. He was able to get his on the road as well. That's what was impressive, that he wasn't like at Duke, he was on the road, he wasn't at Cameron, he was able to overcome some adversity, and that was absolutely terrific in that basketball game. But there is a concern when it comes to his offensive skill set. When it came to practice, like, the members of Duke, the trainers, the coaches thought he was going to be an excellent shooter, but when it came to end game, he did not step up from beyond the arc. He was not a consistent shooter of the basketball, and due to, like, he doesn't have the best of handle in the world, but sometimes he just got caught up trying to do a little too much on the offense side of the basketball. Because he doesn't have the best of speed and quickness, doesn't have the best of crossovers, so that mid-range shot that he was able to get to at times in college, I don't really think he's going to be able to get to it at the NBA level because the game's a lot quicker, and he did struggle when there was a lot of on-ball pressure on him when he was handling the basketball. But when it comes to his three-point shot, he did not shoot it well. He only shot 31% from beyond the arc, and he shoots a flat ball. He doesn't put a lot of arc on it, from what I've seen at least, and his shots have fallen short a lot, hit the front rim a lot. And I don't think he has the worst of mechanics. I just think he needs more lift on his jumper, or he needs to put more arc behind his shots. Like, he is shown to have good games. Like the Pittsburgh game, he shot 5 for 8 from beyond the arc. He's had good games. There's just a level of inconsistency. And if he wants to be a good player, I feel like that three-point shot's really going to have to fall. I understand he's a grinder. He's someone that plays extremely hard. That's what he really relies upon. Like, just his hustle out there on the floor. But due to, like, he doesn't have a burst, he is not an above the rim athlete at all. He's not a high popping vertical level athlete. So I feel the fundamental parts of his game are definitely going to have to get better. So when you get into his driving, he relies upon getting to the hoop, his physicality and strength. He's more of a straight line driver. There's not really twitchiness to his game. There's no in and out crossovers. Not going to see a level of shiftiness, twitchiness like I mentioned. He really relies upon his physicality and strength getting to the hoop. And when there's guys his size or his height, he's able to drive on them or just around his physical profile. But he can struggle finishing with length on him. That's a problem because he doesn't have the longest of arms to really protect the ball. He's not the tallest as well. And just lengthy guys, if there's a Chet Holmgren on him, if there's just these very lanky players, like obviously Chet Holmgren, just taking someone from his class there as an example, he really struggled with those types of players. Despite him being very strong, Chet Holmgren's a very disciplined defensive player. He's able to block shots with both hands. He's able to recover due to his long arms on the defense side of the basketball, even if he gets knocked off his spot. And he really needs to work on his left hand. That's why I brought up fundamentals. There's many times that I'm like, you could switch it over your left hand, or you should be finishing with your left, and instead he just chucks up, or he just forces a off-balance, awkward right-handed layup when it was just very unnecessary at that point of the game. So he has to really work on his fundamentals. And when you take a look at his passing, his vision is probably underrated, or I think it's underrated, not probably underrated. It's probably like one of the most underrated. He has some of the most underrated vision out of this draft class. I'm not saying he's a fantastic passer, but when he did have ball handling duties, he ran the pick and roll pretty well. Like, there's a good amount of patience. He's accurate. The timing, it's very good when he's able to distribute the basketball out of the pick and roll. He makes very good reads, and he knows when to just swing the ball around. He can make the basic reads. I think he's going to be a solid passer at the next level. He likes getting his teammates involved. He's a team basketball player. That's what I really respect about Trevor Keels. He understands his role. He understood that he wasn't the best of offensive player at Duke, so he's like, I'm going to do what I'm best at out there on the floor, get my teammates involved, to play extremely hard, dive after loose balls, do that type of thing. So I do think he has the capability of being a very solid passer at the next level. He has good footwork, he has good instincts, he knows how to read the passing lanes very well, but when it comes to backpedaling, lateral quickness, he really struggles. Or he doesn't really struggle. He was okay, but I'm saying he's really going to struggle when it comes to the NBA level because the personnel is going to get harder. The quickness is going to be at a whole other level. So when it comes to college standards, he was okay. He was able to get away with it. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad. He was in the middle. He was okay. He's strong, though, so he's going to be able to get away with defending against certain types of personnel. His physical profile when it comes to his strength is going to help him out. But then also when you take a look at things, I don't think he's going to be able to guard multiple positions. I think he's strictly going to be able to guard twos, only certain types of twos, because Jalen Green, that would be a tough assignment if he ever ends up starting an NBA game. These just quick twitchy, athletic players, like a Bradley Beal. He's not crazy athletic like a Jalen Green, but when you look at his step backs, his deep bag of moves, so he'll get away with guarding like some personnel when it comes to off the bench, even though there's so much talent in the NBA nowadays. So I'm really interested to see how he's going to be in the G League and the Summer League on the defense side of the basketball. But he has the willingness to hustle, positions himself well when it comes to rebounding the basketball. I know English, maybe he should average a little more rebounds due to his size, but he's not crazy tall, doesn't have the best of wingspan, so it makes sense that he doesn't snag a lot of rebounds. But he's a high impact player that's not going to put up big time numbers, but when it comes to his hustle, he's a high impact player, and he was a very nice complementary piece when it came to Wendell Moore out there on the floor, Paulo Banchero, Jeremy Roach, like AJ Griffin. And I think he has talent. I don't think he has the best of ceiling in the world. I think his ceiling's probably a very quality bench player that averages like 10, 5, and 5. But let me know down below your thoughts on him. Do you personally like him? Do you think he'll end up getting valuable minutes for the New York Knicks someday? And peace out, y'all.